Hello everyone, it is me, Danny, and I am playing Sims again for you. We are gonna get started on the library here in Brightchester. It is the biggest lot in the entire world. It is where the original library was in this world. It was kind of shared between both Brightchester University and Foxbury Institute, and it's awesome. I really did like the original lot. However, it felt a little bit like, I don't want to say a waste of space, but maybe a missed opportunity. It's a huge lot. It's a huge lot. There's a ton of space here. And in the original lot, they have a somewhat small building and a lot of just kind of empty space. And the reason they do that is so that they can kind of optimize the gameplay for anybody's specs on anybody's PC. And I get that, but I didn't do that, so sorry. What I did was I put a big old library here, but in addition to that, I put 3 other lots. I did a cafe, I did a yoga studio, and I did a laundromat. And there was a lot of internal debate, I guess, on what other lots I was going to put here, what other buildings. I really strongly debated putting a bowling alley, but in my mind, I really had to think about how Sims were going to respond to being on this lot. And I'm pretty sure I ended up categorizing it as a library. And when that's the case, Sims of all ages will come to the lot and they'll generally just like read and use their laptops and hang out. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, if I put a bowling alley, all kinds of just garbage is gonna like either a bunch of garbage is gonna cut loose and like people are gonna be wearing bowling shoes in the library and causing havoc, or no one's ever gonna use a bowling alley. So I didn't do that. And I guess maybe the same could be said for the yoga studio, but okay, so here was my thinking. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a club for students from both Brightchester and Foxbury that seem like they're kind of yoga type, and I'll put them in a club, and then I'll make this the setting for their club gatherings, I guess, and make them do yoga, so that ideally they'll go to the yoga studio to do that, and then everybody else that comes to the lot will just be a student. And that'll be great because then they'll be working in the library, they'll be working in the cafe, and they'll be working in the laundromat, which to me are all like very logical places for like a sim or a student generally to be working on something, you know? And so I was into it, and having player tested this quite a bit, it actually works pretty well. I'm pleased with it. I do kind of, okay, I will say I was taking screenshots for this somewhat recently because I was making this video, and I was having trouble getting some Sims to go to the little food cart that I put in, so I might do a little bit of tweaking on that. Unfortunately, I've already had this on the gallery for quite some time, so my bad if you've already downloaded this. I really apologize. I could have sworn to God that someone was manning that station when I was testing it the first time, but I guess I messed up on that. I don't know. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit though for my save file, so it'll all be functional if you download that from me. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the library. The library is what we're working on now. And if it looks a little familiar to you, you probably played The Sims 3. This is my little ode to The Sims 3. This is strongly borrowed from the library in Sunset Valley. It looks very similar to it. I tried to kind of line up where all the windows were and how the steps are. The inside, the floor plan is only sort of like that one. I obviously wasn't gonna keep all the like disgusting swatches and shitty lighting like that. That part isn't what you have a hankering for, is it? Like that's not what is like nostalgic for you. That's not what's nostalgic for me. Just looking at the outside is nice. It's crazy. So this building / this lot was actually the very first thing that I ever did when I started embarking on this journey of rebuilding Brightchester. And spoiler alert, I've already done probably 7/8 of it now, and I'm just kind of started doing the series now. I don't know. I wanted to make sure that I was actually going to have content to be able to do reliably now that I'm starting to do YouTube sort of again. And so I was like, okay, I want to make sure that I actually have shit done so that if one week for whatever reason I can't make anything, I already have stuff in the bank, right? So I did this all like 2-3 months ago. Great way to pass quarantine time, I tell you what. But yeah, so I originally did this one because I had been on kind of like a Sims 3 kick for a little bit. I just went back to my Sims 3 game and was playing that for a while just because, like, I mean, I don't know, you guys know this, Sims 3 is a great game. It's a gay game too, no. It's a great game. And I was at Sunset Valley, and it was interesting kind of like just playing the base game of Sims 3 because I feel like when Sims 4 came out, it just felt so empty. I felt so, like, I remember when it came out, it was like 2014 or 2015. I remember I just graduated high school and I'd gone off to college, and I had been hype as hell for Sims 4 for so long. Like, I remember Life Simmer talking about it, all that stuff. And then it came out and I was like, this is so underwhelming. There's nothing to do. It doesn't feel alive. And I'm not trying to turn this into any sort of hate video, but I just remember feeling that way, and I was just like, damn, this sucks. But then later on, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not giving the credit it deserves. You know, maybe Sims 3 was like that, and you know, it just, once all the expansion packs came out and further content, like it became more of a game that I wanted to play. But going back to literally just Sims 3 base game, I had so much fucking fun. And I don't know if it's just because of the open world and how you can watch everybody kind of bustling about doing their thing, and the Sims all just seem so much more dramatic and over the top, you know? I don't know. I still really have a strong place in my heart for Sims 4, just not for the gameplay in the same sense. I don't know. So, all that to be said, I was playing Sims 3 and I was like, wow, this is one place that Sims 4 is way better than Sims 3 in that the builds look like trash, like hot garbage. They look so bad. They look so bad. And I love it. I love it. I think they look, I don't know. It's all so very nostalgic for me. So maybe if you never played The Sims 3 and you're going back, you're like, yeah, dude, this is some trash. But I don't know. I had a good time with it. But I was like, okay, if I'm gonna be able to not be distracted by how disgusting this looks, I'm gonna have to redo some stuff. So I renovated the library, and I was like, what a beautiful library. I really like the design of it. And so I was like, I feel like I could remake this in The Sims 4 and make it look a lot better. So I did in Brightchester. I was like, this is perfect. And originally I was just gonna kind of like do it on this lot. I had in my mind, I was like, okay, if I'm going to build a library, I'm going to put it in Brightchester because this game was still kind of like fresh on the brain. I feel like I've already said before, like, okay, university is kind of like the reason I play this game, straight up. So I came here, I built it, and then I couldn't stop. I was obsessed. I was like, what if I just like revamped this entire world and I made it into something that is as alive and exciting and interesting to play as Sims 3. And that's kind of what this whole thing has been about, right? So I redid this whole lot. There's all kinds of gameplay here. I'm building all kinds of other lots around the world. I have basically 8 Sims per household, every single household that exists in Brightchester. I'm giving everybody skills. I'm doing all kinds of backstories. I'm giving everybody in a relationship. You know, I'm building all these clubs so that everybody will kind of function in the world. Even if you're not playing with those Sims, they'll kind of be going on in the background doing their thing. It just makes it seem so much more interesting. I realized, like, one time when I was player testing, I was like, oh my god, okay, I feel like in The Sims 3, I'm sorry to keep comparing them, but I'm gonna do it. In The Sims 3, you play in university, right? Or not even university, literally any save, right? you hang out with some random other sim that's not in your household. Okay, they're gonna go do something, so they leave the lot. They get in a car and they go to the next place that they're gonna go, probably their house. You watch them do it, and you know they're going to their house. However, in The Sims 4, you meet up with somebody that's not in your household. They spawn randomly. It's all very chaotic. It doesn't have anything to do with their work schedule. They probably will miss work to hang out with you, and even when they go home, like, they're always at home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. It's Sims that aren't in your household don't behave realistically, I guess, is kind of the bottom line that I'm trying to draw, and it bothers me. I think that's maybe one of the biggest problems with the realism in the game that I think I've been trying to put my finger on. I know that a lot of people have been trying to put their finger on it, and I really, like, half the time I'm like, man, I feel like we're just being so much harder on this game than we were on The Sims 3, because The Sims 3, like, half the time didn't even work. But, like, it was so fun. Like, why was it so fun? And this game just seems frustrating most of the time and not fun. What's up with that? Like, I can't tell if I'm just being critical, because I don't want to be critical just to be critical's sake. Like, maybe I'm just bitter right now because there's a lot going on and I need something to, like, let out my frustration on. So I'm like, oh, Sims 4 is trash, you know? But I don't think it's that. I think that these are valid criticisms. I just can't, like, totally pinpoint, like, what the criticism is of. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm rambling. Right now, in the video that you're watching, I am building all of the other buildings in the strip, and I tried to just kind of make them match the vibe and also just what they look like in the other houses slash buildings in the area, because I wanted it to fit right in. And if I'm being honest, they're not all my favorite. It took me, this was almost just like a study in roofing that I think I desperately needed. I think that this entire build pushed me so far out of my comfort zone as far as roofing goes, and I think that it helped me improve so much in all of the builds that I've built for this world. This was, like I said, the first one that I did, so I'd say, like, looking back at it now, I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to, like, revamp it already, and maybe I will, but I don't know, it doesn't look bad. It looks good, actually. I made this kind of cafe. That's what this tan building is here, and then I put, like, a little like, outdoor garden area with all kinds of garden tables, and the idea was, like, you could get your coffee and, like, chill out and study inside, but maybe if there's nice weather, you go outside to the kind of garden, and there's a little food truck there, and it's nice, and you can hang out and catch up with your friends there, or maybe you can study, whatever. And functionally, Sims were, like, hanging out working on their laptops here when I, like, player tested, and that was dope. This is the thing that I was, you know, going on and on about earlier, where I was like, I thought I player tested and it didn't work. This was the cart that I thought worked, and it just wasn't working. So again, I'll probably tweak it, because I'm not really interested in releasing something that doesn't actually work. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm about. But yeah, no, I don't know. That kind of thing is so cute. You see that kind of stuff all the time. Usually it's more of, like, a bar thing, but, like, whatever. Let's make it all a cafe. There's this really cute part of Columbus, which is the city that I live in, called the German Village. And it is kind of like this historical kind of zone where, okay, so a little history, a lot of Ohio was originally settled by German immigrants. So there's a lot of German history here and there. And in Columbus in particular, the German Village was originally settled by Germans, obviously. And it's just been, like, a very highly protected area. So, like, all of the architecture is, like, new, been, like, taken care of. Like, all the roads are made of brick, and, like, maybe this sounds like your hometown or not, I don't know, but, like, America doesn't have a lot of old things in it, so this kind of thing is kind of novel and beautiful for us. It's very beautiful. But anyway, there's a point to this story. There is this coffee shop called Staff's, and it is, oh my god, it's just, like, so cute. Like, it's so hipster, dude. You go in there and you're like, I'm not cool enough to be in here. But when I was in college, I would go there every once in a while because my boyfriend at the time lived in the German Village. So it was just kind of like, I don't know, like a nice place to go and like work on my shit and stuff. But they had this beautiful kind of like secluded garden area off of the coffee shop that had just like trees and like lights and just gardens around, and there was only like 2 or 3 tables out there, so it was kind of a hot commodity. It was difficult to get a table there, but if you did, which I did a couple times, it was just like so peaceful and pleasant. It didn't make you feel like you were in the city anymore. It felt like almost like an escape, like you were just like whisked away to some other fantastical place, you know. I don't know. It's really nice. So I drew a little bit of inspiration from that, not a lot. That garden had way more like trees and shrubbery, but I kind of tried to evoke that vibe where it's like you're kind of enclosed and there's greenery and there's lights and you just feel very, I don't know, soothed and comforted. That's really, I don't know, it's a nice space. That's something that I miss a lot, having been in quarantine for, I guess, a year now. Oh God. Haha, it's fun, right? Haha, cool times. Anyway, having been in quarantine for like a year now, that's something I miss. It's just like going to these places that you can't really kind of experience at home, that are so like romantic and different and new, and you're just kind of experiencing them and like kind of soaking up the energy and being like, wow, what a cool experience. This is so great. I'm such a fucking dweeb. Anyway, I made a whole little coffee shop there. I put up here a bunch of kind of community gardens. This building here that all this stuff is going on top of will become the yoga studio. Obviously it's not that yet, but on top of it I put a bunch of plants because a lot of the kind of biology students that I put in this world, I wanted them to come to this lot and garden, just like I put a bunch of students that I wanted to come to this lot and do yoga, just so that it's like feels a little bit more alive. And maybe if you're playing and you have a student, you made them really poor, because that's what I would do, and that way you can like come and harvest from these plants and like sell them and make a bunch of money that way. I don't know, just a little trick, a little tip. I don't know, I wanted to create little like Easter eggs like that, because that's what I wish EA would do more. So much of their stuff is just randomly generated and it doesn't really feel like there's been a lot of thought put into it, but I like feel like I know how people want to play The Sims, and they want to make their Sims poor and struggle and go through a lot of weird drama, but they want the drama to be believable enough that it feels silly and fun and not just annoying. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so I put that garden over there. This building here on the right. Okay, so this is the laundromat, and of all of the buildings, this one I feel like I'm least pleased with, and maybe I'll go back and change this, because in my mind originally I was like, this will be so cool because they'll have all these Sims and I'm probably not going to be able to fit laundry machines in their houses, and so that way they can, you know, bring their laundry here and maybe do their laundry and study while they're hanging out here. However, and I don't know, that's nice. That is nice. And it is honestly like, maybe it's better that this building isn't functional, just because I feel like there's kind of a limit to the amount of Sims that'll spawn in a lot. And if Sims were going to this building, maybe it would feel a little bit more empty. I don't know. But on the other side of things, like I said, I don't feel like this is that functional. And I also didn't ever feel myself wanting to go do laundry at any point while I was kind of testing this. I was like, there's way too much stuff going on. Laundry is in the back burner. That's not something I want to prioritize for my Sims. So I kind of feel like turning it into like a grungy stage almost, where like all of like my cool art Sims could like put on a show or something. I don't know. That's kind of something that I'm toying with. So we'll see. Like I said, TBD on if I do some tweaks to this. That might happen. I don't know. But in the meantime, it is a laundromat, and it's a very cute laundromat. Even if it's not super functional, it's really cute. So I still recommend downloading this lot. I think it's really nice. This is the coffee shop that I was talking about earlier. I just made it have kind of like a Starbucks vibe on the inside. So like I said, it's really nice because Sims will come to a library a lot to study and to read and to work on their laptops. And they'll do that in this little cafe that I made. You can just hire a barista and it will just kind of function as a coffee shop. So you'll have Sims kind of filtering in here, and you can almost just like go to this building and not go to the library if you want, you know. And so I kind of like having that option for you, so you can kind of make your own decisions on where you want your Sim to go. I found a mod recently because I've been kind of searching for mods to make my game play more like I want it to. I found this one. Okay, sorry, I have 2 mods to tell you about actually. And I will probably make a master list of mods that I recommend at a later time. I'm not gonna do it just yet, but I'm sure based on my descriptions you can find them if you're really, really curious. The first mod that I'm super excited about that made my game like so much better was this mod that I found that it was by, I think, Lothariho. I remember that actually because I thought that name was fucking hilarious. I'm dead. But they basically made it so that individuals who kind of like walk through the lot that you're on, or like people that are walking their dogs, are from the world that you're in. So like, it always has kind of bothered me, like if I'll be in Oasis Springs and people from Sulani or people from Strangerville just kind of walk through, like it just kind of like breaks the realism for me a little bit. Like I almost wish there was more of a happy medium between The Sims 3, which like forced you to stay in one world, and The Sims 4, which kind of just blends all these worlds that are realistically very far apart, you know, all together. You know, I kind of just want the ability to move from world to world, but I don't want Sims to just be doing it willy-nilly all the time. Does that make sense? Anyway, because of that, I found this mod that will make it so that only Sims that live in the world will walk around and hang out and chill out, like just as kind of like spawning Sims. And it has been so nice for this because in Brightchester, this will like make it so that other students are walking around, you know, and that's kind of like the goal, right? You want to like meet the other people that are going to your school and stuff. So you go to the library, and most of the people that spawn to hang out and study, or even just walk their dog or whatever around. That's the other thing. People walk their dogs outside of Brindleton Bay. That's cool. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Very, very, very strongly recommend that mod. I'm very pleased with it. It just kind of makes it seem like such a more fleshed out community. Shoot, there was another mod I was going to tell you about. Oh no, I forget it already. Oh no, this brain of mine. It's okay. It'll come back to me later. I'll bring it up. It's fine. Or it won't, and you'll just... I'm so sorry. That's what it's like with me and this brain of mine. Can't do nothing with it. I just try to make the inside of the library look very traditional, old, but high quality. Just like these are the desks and the bookshelves that your grandparents used when they went to the same university, you know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. So I did that. There's lots of seating, tons of computers. Again, you don't want a computer hog coming taking your computer, so got rid of that. You know, there's tons and tons of computers. Another thing, okay, this is not to brag or nothing, but something I did with this library that I don't see, I'm sure someone else has done it, but I don't see a lot of people doing it. I actually haven't ever seen anybody do it. I stocked the library. So what I did was I went into debug and I took every single book that you can get in the entire game and I put every single one on the ground, and then I took a bunch of my Sims to the library and I had them put them all away. So now if your Sim goes to the library and tries to take a book off the shelf or like read something or whatever, every single book in the entire game is available to read. And I think that's great. I think that's how the library should be, because when you go to the library in Sims 4, like there's just, I don't know, it's like you just plopped a bookcase down in your house, right? Like there's nothing, there's like, what, 4 kids books and like a bunch of nonfiction and fiction books, but there's no skill building books or anything like that. But the point of a library is for there to be books that you don't have, and you don't have to buy them, right? And I remember in The Sims 3, you would go to this library and there would be all these books that you didn't have, and you just had to kind of click around on the different bookshelves to see kind of what they have and where the skill building books are and stuff. And having put all the books on the bookshelf, it's like so nice, because especially if your sim is in university, you need to build skills all the time, you know, to like do well in your degree, in your classes. But maybe, like I said, you made your sim really poor and you're trying to struggle. You can't afford those skill building things, and like, okay, maybe you have a laptop so you can do your homework and that builds your skill a little bit. But I don't know, maybe you need to build your like culinary skill and you're living in a dorm so you can't even cook, like, right? Like just like stuff like that. It'd be nice for you to be able to read a cookbook, wouldn't it? But now you can't. So you come to this building and you open up a shelf and voila, every single book you could possibly need. It took me like probably like 2 full sim days using a household of 8 sims to put every single book away. It was insane. It like glitched my game really hard trying to get them all to put the books away. So that was a little stressful, but now that they're all on the shelves, I haven't had any problems with it. It's been really nice, you know, and it's been functioning just fine, so can recommend. I just remembered, okay, going back to the thing that I forgot, I just remembered I was looking for a mod to make it so that on lots that aren't like cafe or bar, that worker sims will show up, because that is something that drives me absolutely crazy. Because it's like, why would you ever put down a bar or a cafe table and not want someone to be working it? Like, does that make any sense at all? I don't understand. And this is an example of that, right? Because there's a cafe here, and it would be really nice to not have to hire somebody and just be able to get your coffee and like do your studying and all that stuff. So I did find one mod, which I apologize, I don't actually remember the creator for this one, that seemed to work pretty well, but it was kind of glitchy. I used it a couple different times and it only sort of worked. So if you guys have any recommendations on how to achieve that, I would love to hear it. I'm definitely gonna keep searching myself, because ideally by the time I release my save file, I'm gonna have a huge list of recommended mods and custom content. This save will be custom content free innately, so regardless of what you have in your game, you can just download it and it won't be a problem. But I just feel like the game can be enhanced. It can be enhanced, and I would love to be able to kind of put my seal of approval on these things that all these just incredible, intelligent people have created, and be like, hey, look, this is something you can put in your game and it will enhance this aspect of it. And maybe you haven't even thought about the fact that you want that to be enhanced, but maybe you can try it out and see if you like it, you know? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life or play your game, because that's up to you, and that's part of the fun. But this is what I like. So anyway, just something I've been thinking. All right, so tangent over, going back to the build. We've basically wrapped up kind of the inside of the library here. I mean, I don't know, there's still a little bit of tweaking here and there. I put the left side and the right side of the library basically to be mirror images of each other. And then at the very back of it, I put almost kind of like a conference room. So I don't know, I mean, it's not super functional, and I actually kind of strongly debated against putting a TV in here, because Lord knows the Sims are just gonna go flock to it and watch TV instead of doing anything useful. But yeah, anyway, so that's downstairs, and then upstairs, there's a lot more kind of desks. I put kind of like some areas that look like they've had kind of people working together at them. In real life, the library at OSU that I used to study at had a lot of these kind of chair table facing another chair situations, right? And it used to drive me nuts because there's way too many students and not enough spaces to study, it felt like. And so you just have to sit across from a stranger if you wanted a place to sit. And it would always just like stress me out so bad because I have anxiety, and I would be like, okay, I'm like probably bothering this person by like flipping my pages and stuff. I don't know. I'm looking way too much into it. Probably no one actually cares, and everybody had to do it because there just wasn't enough space. So I don't know. In real life, I think that design is just bad, and everyone should just be able to have like their own little nook. But that's not always realistic when you have that many people going around needing to do the same thing, you know. So very interested. I'm not a student anymore. I am so interested to know what it's like to be a student in today's conditions. It's just, I mean, everything's so different, right? I can't say that I envy it. I'm just curious what it's like. I don't know. I don't think I have any students in my life right now. I guess my boyfriend's little sister is a student, and I talk to her sometimes, but mostly it seems like she does most of her stuff remotely. So I guess maybe that's just kind of what it's like. You don't have to worry about going to the library and having some rando sit across from you and being like, oh my God, do they have corona? My boyfriend's brother's fiance, I know that sounds very convoluted. She's just my friend. I don't know why I'm saying all that. But she just got her second dose of the vaccine yesterday, which is so cool. I am so jealous of her. I really can't wait till I can get mine. But I felt so bad for her because she was like, I feel like I literally just got like hit by a car in my arm. I'm like dying. I mean, she's a nurse, so it obviously makes sense that she's had access to the vaccine and all that, but just crazy. She was out of commission. She's like one of the most like feisty, like on it people that I've ever met in my entire life. She gets up at like 6 every morning, does like all kinds of workouts, she's just like a hustler. She's always doing stuff. I really admire that about her. I can't relate. I just don't have that kind of drive in me. Maybe one day we'll work on it. We're moving here onto a yoga studio. This was an interesting thing for me to build because I've never been to a yoga studio. I love yoga. I do it at my house a lot, and I have a couple friends that are certified like instructors. I don't know, there might be a better word for that, but they teach yoga. But I've never been to a studio before, so I just had to look up a bunch of pictures, so hopefully I did it justice. It's a very small space. It's literally just one room. I put kind of some blockers and kind of like a space to put your stuff, because I feel like maybe sometimes people come in with coats or backpacks or purses or whatever and they need a space for that. Put a bunch of art, and then I just put kind of like a table with like business cards on it, and then other than that it is the mats and some mirrors and some lights and some plants. So I just tried to kind of like evoke a very like chill, clean, minimalist vibe, because that's always what yoga studios have seemed like to me. So if you are a yoga studio expert, please be gentle with me. I did try my best. I think it looks pretty cute though. It looks very cute. And like I said, I made a club in my world of a bunch of students that do yoga, and they come here and they participate in it, and they only do yoga in this room because that's where the yoga mats are, and it's so nice. It's so nice. It makes the world just feel so alive. I'm so into it. And then the next building is the very last building in the entire lot. This is the laundromat, the one that I might change. And like I said, I think it's so cute. It's like nice and like slightly retro. But like I said, I just don't feel like it's gonna be super functional. So I don't know, TBD. I might tweak this after I finish the entire world and release a newer version of this lot. Maybe I'll tweak the roofs of the buildings that I don't love, and I'll tweak this building to be something that's a little bit more functional. But I don't know, you guys can tell me what you think. I think it's cute. I'm going back and forth in my brain about it. But I don't know, it was like nice to just be able to use like the nice like laundry day stuff and some eco lifestyle stuff. Just like, items that I don't use all the time. It's just kind of cute, kind of stretch your imagination to do a little project that you wouldn't normally do. It's nice. But yeah, I think we're about to move on to the screenshots here in just a minute, so I'm gonna probably wrap up this conversation with you guys. Thanks again for listening to me talk about nothing. I have been really enjoying doing this, and I'm trying so hard to make things get better. I understand that my sound and video quality, there's a lot of room for growth there. Trust me, I know. This has been a really cool thing for me to be able to work on, a nice little passion project that I've always just been interested in. So if you're watching this, just know that I really am grateful for having folks be interested in something that I'm interested in. So thank you. I hope you're having just a fantastic day. Bye.